Okay, so we're going to pick it up with how to solve all of these. Now, I've been through tutorials of each and every one of these individually, but I wanted to go through them all together just so as we're going up to higher levels and higher orders of this, it's going to be more clear. So ultimately, the way that you solve this is you're going to be reducing every one of these puzzles, every one of these cuboids to a domino. Reduce them to a domino and solve them as a domino. Some of them, after you solve them as a domino, they're not going to be finished. They're going to be in 180-degree form. So at its heart, to solve a domino means you solve a restricted 2x2 or a restricted base cube. So in this case, because the base cube has just even parity, I get to decide what the top and what the bottom is going to be. The top could be orange or it could be white. The bottom could be orange or white. It really doesn't matter. I get to choose because the centers don't tell me, and I don't have any other part that's down to the core of the puzzle that defines what it's supposed to be. Both centers and edges go down to the core of the puzzle, corners don't. But I'm completely free to do whichever one I want. So let's say I arbitrarily make this one a center, or this one a yellow rather. So this is where I introduce the concept of what I call the sliding U technique. To start off with, here's a yellow and green. Where's the other yellow and green? Other yellow and green is right here. So in this case, I can just line it up at the bottom so that it can come into here and just simply double turn, bang. Now I've got one more of that to do. So I'm going to find the yellow and orange. Yellow and orange is here. Move it into position down here and just move it up. To get the last one in, this is where I introduce the sliding U technique. The sliding U technique at its heart is basically a commutator that does a 2R, 2L, 2R, 2L. You can see it didn't do anything. But what I do is if I do a U technique, then at the end of the day, when I'm finished with it, I'll move another piece into here. So the way to do that is once again line this up on the bottom to where it can slip into this position. And the sliding U technique just means do a 2R move, or if you have to do a 2L move, do a 2L, but we start off with a 2R, we do a 2R, then slide the U so that this piece is now in the L position. It could be a U, it could be a UI, in this case it's a UI. You're in the L position, then do a 2L. Now you just undo it by sliding the U once again back to the R position, do a 2R, slide the U back to the L position, and do a 2L. And that'll put that in without having any effects on any other place. That's the basic essence of a sliding U technique. We now have this, it's automatically going to be oriented, and we just do cuboid techniques. The cuboid techniques are corner swaps. So what you do is you find two corners that are already in, and you see it over here, move it to the left, and then do the corner swap, which swaps these two. Well, it doesn't exactly swap those two. What it does is it takes this, moves this to here, and this to here. So these two move together, this moves here, so it appears that these two swap. But that's 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, rotate 90 degrees, counterclockwise, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. So that's a simple domino type solve of a cube, and that's all we got to do here. So when dealing with a domino, when dealing with a puzzle that is the superpositioning of two different parities means that you can only do 180-degree turns in one of the planes while you do 90-degree turns in another plane. What that means is now we've added edges. Because we've added edges, I no longer can say that this could be any color, gray or black, it's one or the other. And the reason is because these guys are coordinated to the center. So these guys will have to define what the top and the bottom is. I can no longer decide. These have to tell me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in the center so that I can coordinate the top and the bottom. The only function of the center of a domino in the solve, a domino cuboid, is to coordinate what the top and the bottom is supposed to be. But this is really no problem to solve because it only scrambles with itself. So where's the other green? The other green is here. So I'm going to take this green, move it to here by turning it, then take this green and move it to here. Kersplat. So this is here, find the red, and move it in. So now this is solved, and all this does is it coordinates what's supposed to be on top and what's supposed to be on the bottom. So what's supposed to be on the top? Well, it's whatever color scheme matches this. You can see it's not black because this blue and red is opposite. So therefore it's this. So it's going to be the gray. The gray is actually the color. So what we're going to do is sliding U techniques to put everything in. Gray and green. The gray and green is over here. But let's see where this one is supposed to be. This guy belongs over here. So line it up to where it can be to be placed into this position. If it's easier to visualize this way, you can do that. Now we're going to do a 2R to bring it up. Slide the U. You don't even have to know if it's U or UI. You don't have to memorize that. You can just see that you do whatever U puts it in the L position. 2L. Slide the U back to the R. 2R. Slide the U back to the L. And 2L. Then slide it back. That pops us in this position and does not create misplacement of this middle layer. Same thing with the bottom here. This blue one belongs here. So line it up where it's supposed to be. 2R, slide the U to the L. 2L, slide the U to the R. 2R, slide to the L. 2L, slide it back. So these are in. We now just have this guy to go. Put this in. Do a 2L this time. Slide it with a U to the R position, 2R, slide it to the L, 2L, slide to the R, 2R. So this side is done. Now I have the dilemma of the last side, but it's really not a dilemma, it's all the same way. Move my two edges in here, do a corner swap, corners here, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, UI, D, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, and this moves back. So simple. Now, in essence, I'll show you why this kind of a domino is really no different. I don't even categorize it differently because the solve is exactly the same. So what you're going to do is you always have something in your dominoes that define where your side is supposed to be because you have a superpositioning of two different parities. In this case, the middle edges define what your colors are supposed to be. We don't have middle edges here, but we do have edges up here. And more importantly, we have centers. So in this case, the centers will define what your colors are supposed to be, and it's easy to see. So because of that, I'm just going to place what belongs over here. Place the edges first. Put this into here. Now what goes on the other side? Well, you can look at it and see that this is red, this is green. So I'm going to say orange belongs on this side over here. Move the orange in. Opposite blue is going to be green. Move the green one in, and now move this one in. Now the rest of this is all sliding U. That's all you have to do. So just find the green over here and look to where it's supposed to be. Blue and red. Blue and red is supposed to be here. Line it up. Now again, this is no surprise to anyone, but I'm showing this alternative technique because it's going to become very valuable to solve these and any other kind of domino. Move it in. Whoop. This actually has to go blue and red. So what I did actually is I put these wrong. You can see that this is upside down, which means this red belongs here, this orange belongs here. So I'm just going to do this and do that. So let's try that again. Now this one, blue and red, will come to here. So 2R, moves it in there. Swing the U to an L, 2L. Swing the U to an R, 2R. Swing it to the L, 2L. Swing it back to the R, and now that's in. We place the other one, orange, 2R, swing the U, 2L, swing the U, 2R, swing the U, 2L, done. Now this is a matter of corner swapping, and now we also have to do edge swapping. But we start off with the corners. Find two corners that are in, we have them here, and then we swap these two. 2R U, 2R UI, 2R, turn it, 2R UI, 2R U, 2R. That'll put all the edges in, the corners in rather. The edges are just edge swapping. In this case, they're both opposite edge swaps. To swap opposite edge, 2R to U, 2R to U, 2R to U. Now we swap these two here, 2R to U, 2R to U, 2R to U. Okay, so that was really just kind of a review. Now, I'll tell you this. The object of any of these, no matter how large they are and how complex they are, is you're reducing every one of these puzzles to a domino. Now, a domino has its own parity. The reason why I classify that is when I said that this is a domino, and this is a brick, and this is a shapeshifter, and this is a floppy, and this is an ultimate shapeshifter, those terms have meaning. What they are is I've defined an overall characteristic of each one of these puzzles, which means there's an overall parity with them. So what I'm telling you is I'm reducing all of these puzzles of all of these classifications to this classification, which is a domino. Now a domino is a superposition of an odd and even parity. But what I'm going to be doing is, because I'm reducing these puzzles to this, if I can't solve it like a domino, then that is actually a kind of a parity. It's a parity of going from one type of a puzzle with its own type of parities to another type of a puzzle with its own parities. So the question is, can I reduce all of these to a domino and solve them as dominoes? If I can, then there's no parity. If I can't, then there is a parity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with this guy here. Start off with the shapeshifter. Now the shapeshifter, because I scrambled it doing 180 degrees in all direction, the solve of this is pretty much starting off solving as your baseline cube, baseline puzzle. So I start off as a 2x2 solve. So here's the top. Well, I'm arbitrarily going to find this is the top. I could do here, I could do anywhere really. But here's a yellow, here's a white and yellow. Where's the other white and yellow? Right over here. I'm just going to move this in here. Now I'm going to move the other white and orange here. And now I'm just going to RIDIRD this one in here. So I've got this. Now, like any 2x2 solve, I'm going to skip over to the top and put all of these blues in. And I'm going to do this in the standard 2x2 way. And you can do RIDIRDs to bring all of these up. RIDIRD, RIDIRD. Now, there's a faster way of doing this, but just for ease of demonstration, how you want to do a 2x2 can be any way that you want, in any technique that you want, and you should be able to do it. Okay, so this is in and this is in, and as you can see, this just happened to all be placed in. Didn't happen to be that way, but that's how it is. So what I've done actually is I've now reduced this to a domino. These two pieces here are restricted just like a domino. In other words, I can move it like this, but I can't move it like this. I can, but I'm now mixing and I'm bandaging these. So I've now reduced this to a domino solve by doing 180 degrees in this direction, because these two sides only scramble with each other. So this is now down to a domino solve. So we do exactly that. So what pieces come into here? Well, I have something to coordinate which color scheme should be on the bottom here, and that's these two. So I look at the green and red and I see that this doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong here because it's opposite these colors. So that's wrong. I see two yellows here. I move this in, but they're the wrong yellows. So this doesn't belong here. Is there anything here that belongs? If not, then what I can say is if this green and red doesn't belong here, then I'm looking for the other green and red. It's here. So this belongs here. So I'm going to make this my top layer here, and I'm going to do sliding U techniques. Sliding U techniques to take this and bring it to here. So I'm going to move this over to here so that this red can come up to here. This red can come up to here. I'm going to keep this exactly where it is. Actually, I might as well. Since this red is going to come up to here, I'll just move this red in here, and I'll move this red in here. No, actually, these reds come across here. So this red will end up here, and this green will end up here. You know, it's probably going to be easier to visualize if I turn it this way. So this red is going to come up to here because it's the right one. So it's going to be a 2L that I'm going to be doing first. 2L, swing this U, not the top part. I'm going to maintain that. Swing this over to here, then do a 2R. Swing the U to here, to the L position, 2L. Swing it to the R, 2R, and swing it back. Didn't disrupt this at all, and I placed this in. Now I'm going to find the red and yellow, which is right here. So same thing. 2R, swing it to the U, swing the U to the L, 2L, swing it to the R, 2R, swing it to the L, 2L. And swing it back. So now these two are in. So there's nothing easier than a domino solve if you just do it like this. Yellow and orange, obviously not this one, it's this one, but it's in the wrong place. It's over here. So I'm going to move on to try to knock this one out while putting the right one in, and that's going to be orange and green. I've got two orange and greens to choose from. It's going to be this one. 2R, swing the U, 2L, swing the U, 2R, swing the U, 2L, swing the U. Okay, so this is in. Now all I have is the yellow and orange, not this one, this one. Move this around, 2R, swing the U, 2L, swing the U, 2R, you know the words, sing along, and splat. So now this is in, and this happened to be in as well. Didn't have to be that way, could have been like this. So this side is in over here, and now we look at the top side. This is done classic domino style, and again, nothing easier than a domino solve. All you need is a swinging U technique, corner swap, and if you need it, edge swaps. So anyway, these two corners need to be swapped. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, UI, and I'm going to move the D over here. That's the equivalent of taking this whole thing and rotating it counterclockwise while keeping these the same. 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, and this moves back. So again, we took it down to a domino and solved it as a domino. The next thing to show would be a brick. Now, with a brick solve, this is solved exactly like a domino, specifically a 2x3x3, exactly like that. So I'm going to start off with this middle layer, and I'm going to place, I'm just going to place it because it only mixed with each other. So where's the green one? It's over here. So I'm just going to double turn, move this in. Two greens together, orange, have to move the orange one in. It's right here, move this in over here. So I've got blue, orange, orange, green, green, red, red, green. Now notice I'm ignoring these guys. I can't use the, ignoring this one rather, and this one. The reason that I'm ignoring that is I can't solve it as I would a domino. I have to solve it as a domino and then deal with these later when I'm doing a Rubik 180 kind of a thing. So my hope is that this will be solved as a Rubik's 180. I'm going to get into details with that in a bit, but let's go ahead and continue with our domino solve. The domino solve now is by using sliding U techniques. I'm going to place the top. Now which color is it supposed to be? Well, this will define that. Is it white? Well, here's blue and yellow. I'll move that in, and yeah, this matches, this matches. So this is supposed to be a white color over here. There's certain things that I'm not going to be able to get to, so I'm just going to be doing these terminal pieces over here. I can't get to these as of yet. Well, I can, but I can't really solve them yet. So this is in. Just find any whites here. Here's a white, red, and green. So the white, red, and green is going to go over here because this is the red and green. So this belongs up over here. Sliding U technique, 2R brings it in, slide the U to the L, 2L, slide the U to the R, 2R, slide it to the L, 2L, slide it back. This is popped in. Any other whites? Here's a white, blue, and red. So that's going to come to here. 2L, slide the U, 2R, slide the U, 2L, slide the U, 2R, slide the U. What I like about this is you're not causing misplacement of this middle layer. So basically all of these are now in. We're ignoring this for now, but these are in over here. Now I can't do my Rubik 180 until I get this into its native shape. Why? Because I'm bandaged. Until I get the bandaging out, I can't solve by doing 180-degree turns. But this is solved exactly the same way as a domino. I have two corners that are in. I'll just match them up where they're supposed to be, and I just do a corner swap to move this in over here. 2R U, 2R UI, 2R UI D, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, move it back. Okay, if this were a domino, we'd be done. We'd be done because, well, that's all we had to deal with. But because I have these extra pieces, the essence of the brick structure is you have extra center pieces that you can't access until the end by doing 180-degree solves with this. Now, what is the essence of what I have to know with a 180-degree solve? Well, the best way to demonstrate it is with a 3x3 and a 4x4. So in essence, what a 180-degree scramble is going to do is it's a fun way to solve it, but it's a pretty simple kind of a thing. I'm just going to do a very quick scramble here, and I'm not going to get into details of how I'm doing it because, well, I've got tutorials on that already. But it's a very basic scramble, so there's nothing of what I would call parity, but ultimately, when you're solving cuboids, it's not just a domino reduction that you're doing, but it's also a 180-degree reduction that you're doing. And in essence, the only thing that you need to know about a 180-degree solution is really one algorithm, an even layer version and an odd layer version. So with a Rubik 180, you start off with your corners, and it kind of solves itself as long as you get the corners lined up. So blue and blue, blue and white rather. So I got the blue and white, blue and white. I should have the other two corners automatically in, so I move that into there. You may have seen this in the gear cube. It's the same kind of thing. These are lined up. These are automatically going to be lined up as well, so I've got all the corners. Now it's a question of lining the centers. Centers I can just place. Okay, so in essence, it's just moving these edges around, and what this algorithm does is it flip-flops these two edges, and it also flip-flops these two. Because of the law of cubes, I can't do an odd number of swaps, only even number swaps. So I can't just swap these two. I have to swap, I can't swap one pair, I have to swap two pairs. So to swap these two will swap, and then these two. I don't want this one to leave where it's at, so I'm just going to turn this over here, and then these two will swap, which is fine. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. That's the algorithm that swaps these two. Then I simply move this back. I'm closer to where I need to be. And because there's no actual parity that's going to happen, things will just automatically work out. These two have to swap, and, well, these two have to swap. What that means is I'm simply going to take this, move it down here, bring it over here, move this back up. So I position these guys opposite each other. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. And now I just simply bring this back here and here, so it's solved. Now this guy is similarly solved, but in a also fairly simple way. Now what about the edges? Well, the way the edges are going to work is, I see that here's green and yellow. I've got to find the other green and yellow here, move it opposite, and just move it in. Now when I did that, I put this in. 100% of the time, all these should also come in as well. To move these two is swapping these two centers. So this is the even layer version of that same algorithm that I did here. The even layer version is, instead of doing my 2U just above what I want to flip, I split it right in between. 2U, 2R, 2F, this is my F, 2U, and then 2U just above that, then 2F, 2R, 2U. That'll swap these two back. So now these guys are in. Here's a green and red. Move it opposite here. And again, the details of how I'm doing this aren't as important as just the algorithm that I'm using. And now I want to take these two, and flip-flop them back. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Now there's not going to be any issues with placement or issues with parity. These guys also need to be flip-flopped back. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Yep. This red belongs here. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Okay, so 2. Now I'm going to put these in. Line this up over here. These are fine. Now these have to be flip-flopped back. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Again, I'm moving fast because it's really just the algorithm that I'm trying to demonstrate. 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U. Okay, so you see all the centers are reduced, the edges are reduced. So now I'm going to solve it just like this. So what goes where? Well, let's make sure that my edges are fine. Red and white. Where's the other red and white? It's here. Just positioning that here. The other two should be positioned here. So we're good. Now, the only problem is that if this is red and white, this is yellow, these two centers are not correct. So I got to put the green one here. To U, to R, to F, to U, to U, to F, to R, to U, and here, to F, to R, to U. Okay, now all that is in, all that's fine. And all the corners should be in as well. To do the flip-flopping here, it's much more simple because I'm flip-flopping 4 for each other instead of 2. So I'm doing a set of 2 swaps just by swapping these two. So I'm not going to end up with flip-flopping these guys and these guys. So what belongs where? Well, this belongs over here, so that's where I'm going to put it. To U, to R, to F, to U, to U, to F, to R, to U. This belongs here. So as you can see, the even layer version is a much more simple version. To U, so this is in. I'd like to put this here and this here. Flip this over here. Now again, no parity with this, so I don't have to worry about doing anything clever with strategy. It's just going to make itself solved. To U, to R, to F, to U, to U, to F, to R, to U. And finally, well, not finally, but I need to put this here. To U, to R, to F, to U, to U, to F, to R, to U. Turn this back. Okay, so those are Rubik 180 solves, and that's going to be the next step.